Welcome back to another episode of Things and Stuff. My name is Matthew. I'm your host, and I create things. I also review stuff. And a lot of other things. And stuff. Alright, today we're going to be talking about the leaks and rumors for the iPhone 7 and 7 Pro. Since the release of the iPhone 5, the release date has always been in September, right around the 20th. So they'll probably continue that trend. So the phone types, they're going to release two phones. One's going to be the iPhone 7, and it sounds like they're doing away with the iPhone Plus, and they're going to be releasing the iPhone Pro. So sounds like the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Pro are going to be the same exact sizes as the 6S and the 6S Plus. But I heard that the iPhone 7 is going to be thinner. So not only will the phones be the same size as last year's models, the actual look and what they are built from will be the same as well. So the only thing that sounds like they're going to be changing is the antenna bands and maybe a little bit of the look, but otherwise it's going to be made out of the same material. It should look pretty much just like the iPhone 6S and the 6S Plus. So from what I've been hearing, the iPhone 7 Pro is going to be the only one out of the two coming with the smart connector, which allows you to connect to, let's say, a third-party keyboard without actually having to plug it in. Unfortunately, there won't be any wireless charging on this year's iPhone 7. Because of the fact that they're staying with the same body type and the same building materials, they're going to run into the connectivity issues that they ran into with the last phone, and that is why they can't do wireless charging. The screen size for the 7 and the 7 Pro should be the same as it was for the 6S and the 6S Pro, and same with the 2K resolution on the LCD screen. The camera on the iPhone 7 will be a bigger but yet still a single lens camera, whereas on the iPhone 7 Pro, the iPhone 7 Pro is going to come with a dual lens camera, and it's going to come with laser autofocusing, which is just going to help for the speed of autofocusing when switching fields of depth. Both of the cameras will be protruding from the case. I know a lot of people wanted them to make those cameras flush again with the body. Now, I think that's just due to consumers wanting thinner and thinner products, but I'm not too sure. Moving on, we're going to be talking about the speakers and the headphone jack, because it kind of goes hand in hand. There's speculation going in all sorts of directions with this topic, but from what I've seen photos where there is no headphone jack and it has dual speakers on the bottom. But then I've seen other leaked photos that suggest that there is a headphone jack, which would leave space for only the one speaker. With those two things in mind, what I think is going to happen, and this has kind of been a trend for the phones thus far, what I think what will happen is that the iPhone 7 itself will see a head jack and one speaker, but the iPhone 7 Pro would have no headphone jack in the dual speaker. I can see how this makes sense because they're trying to portray this phone as the Pro edition. It would be, I guess, if that's the direction that they are going to go, it'd be good to get some of the consumers who go with the Pro to get used to not having normal headphones and having the lightning cable headphones. Now, moving on to the inside of the phone, we're going to talk about the processor and the modem. And I kind of want to talk about these things at the same exact time because they relate to each other. Now, originally people thought the new iPhone 7 was going to be powered by Intel. But actually, the processor that iPhone 7 is going to have is the A10, which is just the next in line for the A series of processors, and Intel is going to be providing the modem. Now, Intel modem is going to provide for a faster service connection, and it's just going to be faster in general. Now, the processor and modem are supposed to be more energy efficient, and more of the internals as well are supposed to be energy efficient, which leads me into the battery. Now, the battery for the iPhone 7 is supposed to be around 1735 milliamps, and the 7 Pro getting 2,810 milliamps. Now, with competitors boosting past 3,000 up into 4,000 milliamps, I would really hope that these rumors of the insides or the internals being more energy efficient, I hope that that is true, because otherwise I kind of feel like Apple's just dragging their customer base around it with just these lower specs when clearly the rest of the market is putting in higher specs. Now, storage. Now, here's where the latest rumor, the latest picture, really kind of just shows Apple dropping the ball on this one. Now it shows an 18 gigabyte, a 64 gigabyte, and a 256 gigabyte. A lot of people, they don't want to spend the extra money to get the extra storage, and a lot of people just go with the base model. So a lot of people are just going to be getting that 16 gigabyte. And that's kind of an issue because 16 gigabytes goes real quick. Like, you are taking some pictures, putting some music on your phone, apps, it's gonna go, and then you won't even be able to update your phone. This is an issue that Apple has already run into in the past. But that was just the latest rumor. Otherwise, I definitely heard that they could be switching to the starter being 64 gig to 128 to 256 gigs. And that would make more sense. Again, with the RAM, I don't really understand why Apple is just holding its customer base back and holding Apple itself back, because 3 gigabytes of RAM, I mean, phones right now are at 4 gigabytes, and only Apple is holding their customers back and holding themselves back with the 2 gig, and now they're just raising it to 3 gigabytes. I mean, I do think that the average consumer is not going to need more than 3 gigabytes, but like if you plan to do any sort of gaming, or if you plan to do a lot of multitasking on your phone, only having 3 gigabytes of RAM is just really, it's gonna bottleneck, and especially if you only have a 16 gigabyte, like, it's just gonna be slow, and that's really unfortunate. One thing that I could see them doing is potentially just having the iPhone 7 being at 3 gigs. And I mean, if they were smart and they really wanted to make this Pro Edition be the Pro Edition, that they would make the Pro for all the way up to maybe even 8 gigs. Like, they can make it like a Pro Edition. Just really give it a reason to be called Pro. So I could see that. I haven't heard anything about that actually going to happen, but I mean, that would be a smart move on Apple's part. Now, something else that this is just what I believe that iOS 10 will be released at the same time as the iPhone 7, which means that iOS 10 would probably come stock in the iPhone 7 when it's released. That is just something I wanted to add because I feel like it might most likely happen. And water resistance, I really haven't heard much on water resistance, but I'm assuming that they'll be joining everyone else at IP68 or IP67 even. It's just about the same. So, I mean, that kind of wraps it up for the leaks and rumors on the iPhone 7. I did want to freely speak about 2017 and Apple's direction for that. I'll just say, normally when I was talking about the release date and how the sections work, I don't think that 2017, where you would normally see the iPhone 7s and iPhone 7s Pro, with what I'm hearing as far as the changes, because they understand that the iPhone 7 is just, I feel like, a rushed project. Like, they were just like, oh, we have to put something out, and this is the direction that we have to take. So in 2017, they are going to be changing the body to glass, and that is going to allow them to finally put wireless charging in their phone. So the whole body is going to be glass. I heard they're trying to do away with the circle button on the front. They're trying to give the whole front screen fingerprint recognition. That would make it so you don't have to have the button. And then that would allow for the whole front of the phone to just be screen. They have also been working with Samsung, so it sounds like the 2017 release of the iPhone will have the Super AMOLED screen. They're even talking about having a curved display. So if Apple's going to be completely rebuilding the iPhone in 2017, it just really leads me to believe that they're not going to be calling it the iPhone 7s and the iPhone 7s Plus, because I don't think that the iPhone 7 is going to do as good as the iPhone would normally do. And so what I'm getting at is, I think that they're going to just jump forward and call it the iPhone 8. and they're just not even going to have the iPhone 7s, because if the iPhone 7 does bad, why put that bad stigma on a reinvented phone? You know, iPhone 7, what a flop. They dropped the iPhone 7s. You're like, oh, well, the iPhone 7 was a flop. I don't really want it. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a bad stigma to the name iPhone 7. And so I think they'll just jump for it and call it the iPhone 8. So after all the information that we have just gone over, it really does sound like if you want an actual upgrade that you're going to have to get the iPhone 7 Pro. If you have maybe the iPhone 5, then yes, just getting the iPhone 7 will be an upgrade. But if you have the iPhone 6s, I don't really think it's even worth getting the upgrade to the iPhone 7. You might as well get the iPhone 7 Pro or wait till 2017 when the next phone drops. Sounds like they're actually spending the time to make that phone great. So those are my thoughts for the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Pro. Those are the leaks and rumors. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I really enjoy making these videos. It's a lot of fun for me. I'm definitely into the technology stuff. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Things and Stuff, and I will see you guys later.